Hi, it's Lel from Made by Marley. Welcome back to our channel. Are you scared or afraid to hand paint onto furniture and use colour? Well, today is the video for you. You can just turn simple doodles with nothing too complicated and turn out really nice and really sought after pieces. So have a look at this mid-century modern piece, and this is what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so this is the piece for today. What's going to happen to it? So it's modern, 2 drawers. It's in very good condition. It's got some little bits of paint splatters on it, but that's not going to matter because it's so slick. This is really slick. So today this is going to have a sand before we can paint on it. It'll be fine once it's had a sanded. I mean, I know Annie's a non-prep paint, but even this is really shiny. Now this one had another family member, which is the piece that I'm doing on. Martin, can you just pan to that? This is the channel membership piece, and it was shiny and slick as well, and as you can see, it's absolutely fine. We're working on that on a Thursday night, and it just takes a little bit of, just a wee bit of sanding to just give it the paint the tooth. So it's going outside, it's going to be sanded. I'm going to get the lovely Martin to remove my handles. I want to keep this piece quite modern. It had a mirror, no mirror now, so these parts here have to be removed. But so when you see it next, it'll have a sand. I'll be set up with my paint and we'll be ready to go. Okay, so the handles have been removed and it has been sanded. It's had a really good scuff coat just to give it tooth. What am I going to do now? I'm going to give it a base coat and a second coat, so 2 coats of Annie Sloane's Rodmel, which is this sort of purpley colour. So really nice. It's not a colour I've ever used. So I'm going to be giving this piece 2 coats, and one I need to let dry, perfect. And then when it's dry, I need to give it another coat because it's so slick. I want to make sure that it's got a really good base coat because we're going to be blending on this today. So it has to be appropriately dried because before you start adding water, then you need to make sure that it's done right. But this is what I'm going to do. So I'm not using crosshatch strokes today. I'm using nice straight flat strokes. Not because I don't want any texture, I probably will, but it's just that for the 2 coats, the 2 base coats, I'm just going to be doing this. So I'm going to get on and paint this beauty purple. And Martin was just reminded me that this piece was a free piece. Somebody got in touch with, did we get in touch with them or did we see them? I don't know how it happened, but
they got in touch with us.
But the people, I think they were doing a sort of house clearance, and there was a few sort of mid-century modern or more modern pieces in the house that we took. So be careful if you're going over handle holes that the paint doesn't pull into there and then leave you drips. Normally I would say just let it drip, but we're not doing that today. Okay, so 2 coats. When you're doing something super, super shiny and you've scuff sanded it, sometimes you're going to get a little bit of lift on the edges. Don't worry about that just now. See how it goes as we go. Now, I have done the inside, this facing part of the cupboard, purple. We're going to paint in these cupboards a different colour. And I've done the sides of the drawers this colour as well. Now, we're going to need a few different colours here. Now, I've told you this before, but just want to recap quickly. 2 ways to kind of start your blend. You can either blend it all in the beginning, let it dry, and blend it all for the second time. Or you can put your mid-tone colour, the middle colour, on as a base coat and then blend it. Why do I do the mid-tone, the mid-colour one and not the twice? Because sometimes you get a beautiful blend. You just love it on the first time round, but there's gaps. You can see through the paint. And then when you put your second coat on, sometimes I can, but I'm just never as enthusiastic the second time round. So I think it's good just to put your mid-tone on and do your one blend and be happy. That's what I think. So this is what I'm doing. So this is my middle colour. So we need a dark purple. So how are we going to do that? So I've got here some Oxford Navy, and I'm just going to put some of this in here. Now remember, you need to mix enough to do the whole piece. So and Capri Pink, which is the hot pink. I didn't bring anything to mix these. I'm just going to mix them with my brush. It's going to be that kind of video today. I'm just going to tell you about this as I do it. I had multiple plans. I've told you this before. I am the queen of over planning. But this morning I got up and I said to Martin, do you know what? I don't want to do any of those things. I just want to have fun. I just want to create a nice modern piece. So there you go. There's your dark purple there. And that's just your capri pink and your Oxford navy. That'll get you your dark pink. But now what you're going to do, you want a lighter pink. Sorry, it's not pink. It's purple. Martin, will you help me out here? You can see it's purple. Yeah, this is my dark purple. I do want a little bit of pink in it though. So then my mid colour is going to be the Rodmel. So you can see that's the middle one. So now we need a lighter variant of this. So let's just do a little bit of Oxford navy and a little bit of capri pink and some white and see where this lands us. I'm going to have to go and get blending brushes now because I'm using the malt mix paint. You want it quite light, which isn't light enough. So a bit more white. That was quite a lot of white. There we go. Right, so let's just have a look at this on the mix mat. Okay, so light, middle, dark. Yeah, now this should be quite an easy blend because they're all from the same family. And when you blend, an easier blend is when they're all from the same family. It's really difficult if you pick something that's not from the same family of paint or from the same colour. So, but you can get there. I mean, that's not to say it can't be done. It's just, this is much more easy. This is an easy blend. Now, what is my plan? You can blend each one, blend your drawer, and blend your cupboards all separately so they're all different, so they're all blended in individuals, or you can do it just these two and make this one a blend and the two cupboards a blend, or you can do it as one, and I intend to do this as one. My plan is to do something like this, put dark around the edges, the Rodmel, which is the mid-tone in the middle, and the pale in the middle of this, because I'm going to have something running along the front of here. I want to keep this quite modern. I want to keep it quite crisp. There won't be any distress in this. This is what I want. So why am I putting a blend on it? I just felt a bit cheeky and I thought, I'm just going to blend. So that's just an irrelevancy. But blending is a good thing. It's a good skill to be able to do. I'm not the best blender in the world. I'm just not. But I can get by. Now, what do you need to blend? You need some blending brushes, a cloth. Sometimes I'll do my blends, which are the mingly ones where they just make friends with each other and add water. You can do that, and I do it with one brush. But I don't want this to get too muddy, so I'm going to use the ones that are in all of the paint now because I've used them in the paint. You need a kind of neutrally one for when your brush gets muddy and it's all the colours and you're trying to bring it back. So it's good to have a neutral, and I've got just these because I'm happy with these. Put them down there, right? Let's start with the edges first. Now, this is going to be one big blend. The top is going to be one big blend, and the sides are going to be one big blend. I think I've explained that enough. Do you understand me, Martin, or am I not making any sense?
I understand you.
Now, what I'm going to do first is I am going to put my dark around the edges. Let's kind of work along the piece, and I would rather, because this is quite fresh, it's dry, but it's not hugely dry. I mean, it's not overnight dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squish my brush instead of my furniture. So let's get some of this dark on. Oh, don't want that. Already we're off to a great big messy start. So let's take this along here like this. So that's our dark on. Let's go to our, and the secret with this is not to have it right beside it, just go beside it, but don't go into it yet. So we might bring that to there. So that's our middle, yeah? And then what we're going to do is we're just going to take our pale and we're just going to run it along the centre. That is all we need to do to begin. I'm going to take a brush, I'm going to wet my brush so that I can mingle these together. Now, you can blend this way, which is a kind of tappy sort of motion, like this, or you can blend like this. So let's get these two together first. The dark and the Rodmel, which is the beginning. Let's get these all done first. So I want to bring it up. Now this just takes time. If you've got plenty of time, it's all good. And it's nice, it's good fun. I'm just going to change my brush for the paler colour. I just don't want to get too muddy. Get rid of that little boo-boo there with the run. My brush is kind of sticking, so let's put a little bit of water on that. I'm not, as I said, I'm not wanting to saturate this, but I don't want it either that it's pulling the paint off from underneath. So let's make sure we've got enough water to keep this going. So I'm just going to bring this into the rod mill now. Now, I probably now will go back to my original purple and let's start bringing this down into here. What I'm trying to aim for in the end is a sort of kind of, oh, there's a piece of detritus in my brush. Do you like that, Martin?
I did like the use of that word.
Yeah,
yeah.
Detritus. That's one of Martin's favourite words when the yard gets messy and there's wind. There's a lot of wind and all the sticks end up in the garden. He always says that the garden is full of detritus, which our children laugh at. Now, can you see this?
I like to use big words.
He does use incredible. Do you know what he uses? Incredibly big words, and sometimes I look at him and I say, "What does that even mean?"
You know what that means?
I said, "What does that even mean?" And then he explains it. I go, "Well, you could have just said this, right? Can you see this is starting to happen?"
It's a learning experience.
Every day's a school day, Martin.
Yeah.
Now, what are we thinking about this? I'm thinking that I would like a little bit more of this darker here, just to bring this. I'm still using the one that blended, the brush that blended the dark purple and the rod mill, which was the original colour together. Now, back to my pale brush again. I'm just going to give it a light scoosh, just a very light scoosh. You cannot blend without water. I'm going to try and bring this up to here because this is going to be the carry on. Back to this one. Now, can you see it? I'm kind of going every way just to make it work. I have to kind of try and keep it, you have to kind of keep it going every way. I don't like the edge of that. My brush is getting a little bit dry. Just kind of make this look a little bit nicer. Now, there we have it. A bit more dark on here, I think. Just want a little bit more drama down the bottom. Just on my furniture, I'm wanting drama. Not wanting drama anywhere else. Right, okay. Here's not best. You can see what I'm doing. And you can see how this is going to go across the furniture like this. I'm not going to labour the point because the thing is, it would take a whole video in itself just to do blending. It really would. I mean, there's so many different ways to do it, and every furniture artist does it differently. And because everybody's doing differently doesn't mean to say that everybody's wrong and that person's right. I think that furniture art is about what you feel about it.
Yeah, find your groove.
Yeah, I say this all the time, you know. You do you. It's got to be able to make you happy. I'm just going to get a clean brush here because I'm a little bit kind of like, I'll soon have all the brushes in the world out. There. Now, I'm just going to kind of fiddle around with this a little bit more until I get it just right. But you've got the sort of general gist of what I'm doing here. I'm just mingling these together. I keep bringing the pale back in here and I'm not wanting to. There. So the same all the way across the furniture. So now we're moving on to here and here. I just get some water on the brush just to make it move. You can see I'm only doing it in small sections because you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. And I am going to have to go back and kind of fiddle with this off camera a little bit, but I'm just kind of showing you what's going to happen with this. And my pale colour is going to go in the middle, sort of here. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on and I'm going to blend the front. I'm going to do the same in the sides and the top. When it comes to one of the sides, I'll get Matt to come back just so you're not completely lost when it's done. But I think you get the sort of gist of what I'm doing here. Okay? Okay, so I've blended everywhere else and I'm just going to do this side just so you can see it again in action. If you're kind of, I mean, you're probably all at the stage where you can all blend, but I'm probably even better than me. But my point is, this is how you do it, so that you're kind of, you know what you're up to. Right, okay, so we've got our dark on our edges. We're going with our middle, which is the colour, this colour here. There we go, like that. And we want to be putting our light in the centre. There we go. And then you just go back again at the brushes that you, it's trying to keep an eye on your brushes. That's the difficult part of this. Remember, if you think it needs water, just give it a, I'm squishing my brush still. Right, and then you just, see, I'm getting giddy now, getting brave. Now you just have to kind of work it. I'm not going near the centre yet, I'm just trying to get these edges kind of where I want them to be. You don't want to be rubbing too much dark into it, too much light into your dark. You want to try and keep your dark dark. And we can come back in and put a little bit more on that. Right, so now I'm going to change my brush again. Just making sure this here is nice. I'm hoping this all makes sense. I mean, it's one of those situations where you really just kind of need to fiddle around with it for quite some time until you get to what you're looking for. Changing to a lighter brush. Let's bring this out first. I mean, some people like, I don't know what I've done with it, but some people like great big blending brushes. I prefer kind of smaller ones, but you know, like you can get I've got one somewhere, the Big Daddy redesigned by Prima brush. It's quite a good one as well if you wanted to. I'm going back with my dark now and I want a bit more water. So round we go. And it's just playing around with the paint until you get it to what you want it to look like. Really it is. I mean, there's no sort of, as I said before, I mean, you can watch somebody do it and they do it this way. You can watch somebody else doing it this way. I'm not trying to send other people to other channels, but if you really do want to watch blending, then Brush by Brandy is the most amazing blender. She just blends everything. So, you know, if that's your vibe and you want to kind of even go into a deep dive on blending, because blending is very difficult until you kind of get your vibe. But then some people just like to blend all their furniture. I mean, I don't do a lot of blending, but now I'm getting to the point where I'm liking it. But as I say, and then your touches get lighter as you go. You light I'm hardly like kind of like, my brush is very light now because I'm not wanting to lose too much of the dark definition. I'm just going to do one last sort of dark because I really do want the sort of darker edges, and make sure I know which brush I'm using. Just kind of softly, just that's not the right brush. This is it. Then just softly kind of like blend that back in until you've played around with it enough. There now. So that's that side done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this all dry off and then we're going to start getting the design on it. That's where I'll come in a moment. So all the other sides are done and they're drying nicely. Okay. Okay, I'm just getting Matt to show you. I hope he's picking it up, that I've done all the way along here just with the shapes. I've filled in the leaves and I've still got the leaves to do on this one. And I'm just using a pencil for this part. So I'm just thinking of the sort of positive and negative spaces really, and how this is going to look, you know, once it's been painted. So just something like that. pretty leaf here. Maybe we're going to do something here, maybe something on this part here. And a small leaf there. So that's, I'm kind of looking at, I'll just do something on this edge here. I'll make it yellow and then it'll be the one of the flowers. So I'm happy with all the positive, negative spaces here. And I'm happy with how this flows. It flows nice. It's going to be quite a modern piece. So what I'm going to do first is on my mix mat here, I have Arrows, which is this colour here, which is a sort of variant of the orange, and I've got Barcelona orange as well, and I've got Tilton, which is a bright yellow. I've got some artist brushes now. I'm only doing the base coats of everything first, so because my other, my kind of tones are going to be these over the yellow, but I'm going to start by, if I think about my, oh, that's not a very nice brush, it feels funky. Let me just change my brush, sorry. Don't want funky brushes. That doesn't feel funky, this is good. We're going to start with a sort of base coat on our flowers, and we are going for Slick and Tidy. Slick and Tidy is the name of the game on this one. So no distressing. So if we make a mess and we do a dribble, we're going to have to be really careful because there's a blender of this and it's going to be difficult. So I'm not using too much water at the moment so that it doesn't run. Now, I understand that this would be an incredibly boring video if you just sat and watched me paint these flowers in. So you understand the concept. The flower's base coat is going to be yellow. And I'm going to take my time and fill all this in and make sure that I don't have too many heavy brush strokes. I'm wondering whether it will need 2 coats, and I think it probably will. So the big flowers are going to be yellow. The seed pods, I've got florons here, so I'm just going to put some of this. Oh, do you know, it always does a side spurt. It's a side spurt. You see, I squeeze it and it always goes mix mat and carpet every single time. And you know what will happen in about 5 minutes? I will sit on that.
Or I'll stand on it.
Right, I can't use that because it's been in the rug, but never mind. I am moving over to the stable.
That's what these old rugs are for.
Yeah, I'm moving over to the stable. Well, the next video you see, I'll be over in the stable. Is that right, Mara?
I hope so, yeah.
After this one. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. I can throw paint around as much as I like. And if you're new to my channel and you don't know about the stable is actually my studio. It's an old stable. It's exactly what it is. It's nothing posh. It's just my stable, and it's where all my equipment is, all my stuff. I've only brought some of it over for the winter, so it's good to get back over. I'm always telling you, use the right brush for the job. This is not the right brush for the job. It's a bit big. But
Leo's a little bit excited. Giddy is the word I would use.
I was up at 4 o'clock this morning looking at looking at storage solutions.
which are arriving tomorrow.
I kind of like, you know, that way I always think, oh, time. And it sounds really silly, but for me to rifle through lots of drawers is a nuisance. And I want the things that I can see through clear plastic visibly so that I'm not spending all the time going, where is that? So I've got some clear storage solutions, and I've bought myself a little kind of quite a substantial little rolly trolley for all of these, so that I can sit and I can on my carpet and I can roll my trolley over. My paint is all there because I spend an awful lot of time when I'm in the stable rolling around the floor. So now you get the gist. These are going to be green. These leaves here are, now I don't have a huge amount of colour choices, will probably be Floral, which I'll paint these in. The purpley ones that I think are going to be thistle-like, I'm going to, you saw me do this yesterday, but I'll just add some Oxford Navy and Capri Pink, and I'll make myself a nice dark navy, a nice dark purple. It helps if I'm able to recognise the colours. Yeah, this will be the colour that I'll paint these bad boys in. yeah. And don't worry about the detail. As I said, I'm going to be going back over with this. In fact, probably just hand paint the detail back, and it's not like it's complicated. So you understand. I'm going to go away and I'm going to paint all these shapes in, yeah? And then, don't want to go any further because I've not got the right brush for the job again. And then we'll come back and we'll put the second layers on, yeah? Okay, so I made a doodle. I used carbon paper to put it onto the furniture. I then gave it one base coat. So far, simple, nothing complicated. Now what we're going to do is we're going to build the layers up on each one of our pieces of flowers and leaves that we've painted. How are we going to do that? Well, let's just kind of build it up in watery layers. So you're going to need quite a bit of water for this one. So let's kind of start. I'll move my water so you can see my mix mat. On here I have a little bit of Barcelona orange and a little bit of Capri pink. I just need to mix this a little bit darker here for my edges. Now, plenty of water. So let's just start by, oh, there's a hair on my brush. Probably from my head. Now, let's just start with something like this. Now what I'm doing is building up quite a solid amount, and then what I'm doing is I'm getting a brush with just water on it, and what I'm doing is I'm just watering it down. This one isn't big enough, hang on, let's get this one here. Yeah, and you're adding quite a bit of water, so let's do that again. Just, we're doing our edges so they're quite solid, like that, yeah. Water on our brush, and let's just bring that in a bit. And you're looking to get some texture and different, like a kind of watercolour effect. So with the big flowers, we're going to go around the edges like this. If you want a bit more of this, you can bring a little bit more in. If you want one side of your flower a little bit darker. Again, watery brush. Let's just bring that in down. It's just a bit of blending, really. Something like that. Something like that. I'm doing it, Martin. Martin always says I say something like that.
Normally, I think I might do. And it's done.
So I'm kind of liking that the way that is. Let's just bring this edge not so heavy here. I just want to show you what I've done. I've brought that flower into the drawer, the leaves into the drawer, just so when the drawer's closed you can see it. Touched up a little bit with peach on that flower, just like a white. I actually did quite well and didn't have to do any cleanup on the blend, so that was quite a good thing. Right, so we've got that, and then watery brush again, and I've got some Floral, which is the sort of limey, this colour here, for centres. This is a kind of watery. Now you can build this up. I kind of let it, I've already done one on this side, so I know what the feeling is, and I kind of let it like drip a wee bit almost. And you can build that back up again with some more of that. That's what I'm doing with the big flowers. I don't like this part here. I think it's just a little bit sharp looking. So you're just going to need some paint and quite a bit of water. Let's just water that down again. I don't know what that is. I've just had my lunch and Martin makes the best cheese sandwiches in the world. I know it sounds weird. It's just a cheese sandwich, but oh. Right, so that's these. The leaves, all the leaves are orange on this. Kept all my leaves orange. It stops any confusion. So again, dipping my brush, loads of water, loads on my paintbrush. And I'm just kind of, maybe too much. Kind of giving these a little bit, you can see where I've been dribbling water everywhere. Any sort of the leaves, we're just kind of like running some of this green into the centres. And you can see I'm not really kind of like, You have to keep it in the shape, but you know, you don't have to be too. And while that's reasonably wet, I'm dipping into the Florence, which is the sort of turquoisey, which is this colour here. And let's just give these a little bit of something. Now remember, you're going to have to take it into the drawer a wee bit. And we're looking to try and get some movement. I don't like that way that's gone over. You want to keep your orange, but you also want to give the leaf a bit of movement. So, and that's all down to you, sort of kind of how you use your brush. But it's pretty simple. You just kind of like just adding some texture in it. And because we've put that watered down furl on it first, it's quite easy to move. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do all my big yellow flowers and all my leaves like this. But before we go, these ones here that look a little bit like, well, I'm hoping they'll look a little bit like thistles. Who knows? Right, so I want to do, with these, I want to start with a sort of pink and a little bit of the original purple that I painted these with. A bit more pink. It's hard to see because I'm on the black pattern, my mix mat. Paint's not too watery at this stage. So I'm putting on, I'm leaning on that one, hang on a minute. Where to go, where to lean. So I'm putting some of this right at the tips of here, and the paint has not been watered down yet. So let's just get that on there like that, and then we're going to water that down. So I've got a wet brush again. Let's just try and bring this down into the shape so it's not so heavy at the ends. Just reactivate your paint and let it move. I don't like that part there. I don't know why I'm whispering. I'll deal with that. And you're moving this right up to the edges. Again, I'm going back in my purple brush. I'm just going to fix this one here that I didn't like, and I'm just going to do it with the purple. I would imagine you want my purple right up to the edges. You can see what I'm doing. I'm literally using, you got your base colour, and then what you're doing is you're putting a darker colour or a different colour on top, and then you're not covering it, you're just kind of doing a little bit of it, and then you're reactivating it with your water. That is all I'm doing here. Just kind of moving it so it's not one solid. You don't want it a solid cut off point. You want it to move down into the flower like this. I think something like this. I mean, I'm going to put a little bit of just pink on its own. Let's see what that's like. Quite like that sort of darker shade. Let's just do. Now, I'm going to take my. You can see I've not got a huge amount of colours today. It's just what I've got. I've mixed a little bit of the florals and a little bit of the floral to get a green. Let's just kind of put this on here. Try and create some more line on the edges. It's just a matter of building up some layers to get that sort of kind of modern look. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to give this piece a really sort of modern look. So, you've seen me do most of the flowers. When they get to this sort of stage and they're dry, this one here, let's start working on this one here. So we want to have something like these two leaves are the forward leaves. These two leaves are the back leaves. Forward leaves, back leaves, you know what I mean? So I've got sort of reference point. So I'm in the pink now. And so to make this look like we're kind of gonna outline that. I'm using a chinoiserie brush for this. Now where I've kind of not hit that, let's just darken that up. So this is our leaf that's coming from the front, this one. And this one here. If you're finding these kind of things hard, hold your hand with your other hand. So lean this one on your knee and put this one on here like this. So you are leaning with your knee and holding with your hand. That makes it easier to make your brush work, and it holds your brush nicely. So like this, and then let's just go around this edge here. Sorry, I'm not talking, I'm concentrating. Now, that's got a nice darker edge. I just want to darken this here up here. Something like that. There we go. I don't like that little bit there that I kind of ran in with my liner. We can kind of try and wipe that a little bit away. I'm going to have to do that in all of them. Right. There we go. Now, that's that sort of look. But I want some focal points. So what colour am I going to pick out of these main colours? And I think I'll pick the florals. So I don't want to touch it quite on the centre. I think I'm going to go something like, I'm wanting a kind of it's hard. I think I know what I'm looking for. I'm wanting a kind of watercoloured look. But a sort of modern look. Does that make sense? Probably not. I know what I want in my head. It's just, it's kind of difficult to explain, but what I'm doing isn't that difficult. It's just a matter of sort of manipulating the paint around. I don't want these lines to go into this leaf here, so I'm just going to kind of do something like this. Like that, yeah. Darken some of these up a bit. Yeah. Now centres. What am I going to do with the centre? Sorry, Marty.
That's right.
I'm going to go for the purple, the dark purple that I used originally. Now I'll come back when this is dry and do something else with this. Isn't the right brush for this. It's good for the lines, but it's maybe not so good for this. I'm going to just put a bit of water on it. That'll help it. There we go. Now I'm going to let all this dry off, and we'll come back and we'll do some more layers. But I'm going to get everything on the piece to this stage, okay? Okay, so I've put my sort of basic colours over the top of the one flat colour on this door here. I'm only going to show you this door here. Try and ignore that bit just now. So we've got all this on. What we're going to do now, we're going to start pulling it all together. So just with the same colour palette. And this is where you get kind of blendy with it. And you start kind of like mixing different colours with different colours to try and kind of like, I need a bit of water. And you just start a bit of yellow on this part. You just really start painting it in. Now, it's modern, it's doodly, it's scribbly. This is the thing you've got to remember. So on the leaves, I've already put my two kind of tones on. Let's start bringing lots of different other colours into the leaves. And I'm not cleaning my brush, I'm just kind of like having fun with the paint. On this one here, we'll do some yellow and pink. The seed pods. Let's just put some yellow on there, and then maybe some pink. Maybe some green. So you can see what I'm doing, just kind of, I'm going in each time with something from my palette. Now, these parts here I want to do pink, so let's just kind of run these down. But I'm still keeping a little bit of turquoise at the top. Let's just run that down into there. Now, bring our orange up into here. Tidy that edge up. I'll line it with a bit of green. There isn't any real way that I can really kind of teach this. It's just kind of, it's just putting lots of colours together that you like, that's from your palette choice, that starts to build up this sort of kind of modern design of it all. I mean, it's can be quite, this part is quite quick. We haven't got to the scribbly finishy part yet, but we'll do that next. But once you've done something like that, you kind of understand. I mean, you might want to blend that. I mean, that needs a little bit of blending. I'm kind of rushing, but so here we're going to add some of our dark purple around the edge of our flower. I'm just trying to work out where the leaf for this one is. We'll make this one the front one. Now that's a bit thick, but if you come in with a wet brush and just kind of water that down. Don't worry if it looks a little bit kind of. Back to the purple brush. Oh, that's not a purple brush. Put some purple on it. If you think you've made a little bit of a boo-boo, just add a bit of colour to it. This bun hasn't got its green centre on yet. So I think you're kind of hopefully starting to get, you know, if you're doing these sorts of looks, it's all about kind of like putting lots of colours together. So let's just kind of let this one dry off a little bit before we start. I want to put a little bit more pink in here. Now, we had the sort of dark purple kind of shapes that we put on the other one. Now, what I did was, when they dried, I went back over them with with the turquoise. I just thought it made it pop a little bit more, but I kept the dark underneath, so I kind of still need to have that, even though I kind of changed it. I'm thinking there might be a part of a leaf here. I'll just water that down a bit, that brush. Now, it is starting 100% to take sort of shape. That one will be like this one. But this one here is kind of at the stage that this one's here's at now. So let's work on this one. So this one, what we're going to do with it, let's try and bring it in line with the rest, because I've done the rest of the piece. It was just that there's no point going over and over and over the same stuff. So I'm just going in with the turquoise here, as I said, over the dark. I didn't take it all the way up. So that's why I kind of, artistic license here. That's the good thing about this. They're abstract, you can do whatever you want. This is the dark purple. I'm just kind of doing something like that. I'm giving it a bit of shading. Now I want some colour on this leaf here. So let's just come in with a bit of yellow and a little bit of pink. Same with these leaves and stems. Let's kind of just brighten these all up. Add a little bit of turquoise and a bit pink. And very quickly, you have built up. And I mean, you don't need to be like, this is the thing about this, like you don't have to be a fabulous artist. You're just putting loads of colours down. It's abstract, it's modern, it's fun, and we are going to scribble all over this once this is dry. So you don't really need to worry too much about it. An artist, you do not have to be. You just have to be able to kind of like have the creativity skills to understand that this is what you're looking for. There, have the confidence. I'm just going to extend that a little bit. But when I do that, I want to have this sort of dark purple kind of outline. Now, these little, I don't know what we're calling them, little fern heads that are curly. Just bring, I'm going at a really funny angle. Bring those down in here and we'll start highlighting those with a little bit of pink. Not cleaning my brush in between, a little bit of green, and a little bit of yellow, and we'll scribble on these in a minute. Yellow, pink, and some green. Oh. And then you take your original turquoise and do your sort of little this one's quite tight compared to some of the other ones. Kind of losing into the turquoise there, so I'm just going to do that. You can see what is happening. You can see how it suddenly kind of comes together. It's not that, man, am I kind of selling this? I'm not sure. It's hard to explain this one. Do you have anything to add as somebody that doesn't paint?
No.
No, am I explaining it okay?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Now, when you get to this stage, I'm just going to go away and I'm going to dry this off. I'm going to come straight back because now we can get to the sort of scribbly part of it all, which is the fun part, I always think. This one hasn't got a centre. That's what's wrong with that. I think you have to do something like this so that it looks like it. Not going off in the middle of nowhere. Oh, do you ever wish I hadn't done something? Yeah. Just trying to highlight a wee bit. Right, okay. I'm going to start fiddling with this. I'm going to dry this off and we're going to come straight back. Now at this point, if you like it like this, just outline the edges and call it done. I'm going to scribble all over mine. So, you know, that is up to you. So when you're doing a look like this, it's good if it's off center. So think about starting in but finishing past it. So like that, and like that. And I am using, I don't know what this is called, an old cardboard Posca for this. And I want it to look as scribbly as I can. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to scribble around all my shapes. In fact, for good measure, I'm going to go back over it and scribble it again. I'm not saying much, so I'm concentrating. Give that a bit of a shake. And soon you just get round everything, scribbling. I mean, you can have loads of fun. You can go like this down the middle of the leaves. And on this leaf here, we can really go to town. Do something like this. Let's make that extra specially scribbly. Remember, we're going to kind of come off of there. And start here. How is this done? You literally just scribble all over the top of it. Why? Because it looks good when you actually see it all done. Right now you're probably going, wow, she's went and ruined that, but I haven't. Now, hang on, just got to scribble down here a minute. I think this pen is just about a lot of juice. Here, we're going to do, I'm just going to change my, I've got another one of these, maybe this one's a bit better. I'm going to do circles on here, and I'll come back in a minute and I'll do some lighter circles. This has the shape, and this has dots on it. I have to keep checking what I've kind of done, so I kind of went around these like that, and this shape. This is incredibly boring, I think, but I think to get the scribbly sort of kind of idea, it's good to see it once, and then that way you can go forth and scribble on your own things. It is good to push the boundaries. Now, I think we're just about good on this one. I always think for good measure, scribble twice. Maggie, you're very quiet. As quiet as a wee mouse. Are you thinking, oh no, she's went and ruined that?
Right.
The process.
I think it looks really cool.
Right, now I've got a lighter colour of Posca as well, so let's just kind of give all this a little bit of a more of a scribble and sort of highlight it off. I can go around there. I think I need a bit more of the ochre on this one here. I'm not kind of happy with this. I don't think it's scribbly enough. It's good fun doing this, and I think that it's good to experiment. Oh, I haven't put the turquoise over that. I can't do anything with that one just now. Centre of this, I did this and scribbled around it. And then I didn't do dots as much as I kind of did something like that. I'll do this one. Now there's probably parts that I've missed out on these doors here that are on the main piece, but I'll have to go back to it. It's just that I'm trying to show you pretty quickly what I'm about. So this one here hasn't even been, you'll see it better how I'm doing these on this one because it's a bigger form shape. That other one was a bit small. I just kind of scribbled around them. bit of a highlight there. Just seeing what I've done. And this one has the shape on it. This has lost a little bit of its blue. Oh, I'm kind of a bit annoyed with myself. I've gone a little bit kind of crazy with the purple. I might kind of just put a bit more blue in that. You can then, if you want, go back over the top of it with whatever colours you want. I mean, I think I might just do some yellow in there, just make that look like it's. So you can see where this is going. I'm going to get Martin, I'm going to shimmy along, and I'm going to get Martin to show you where I'm at. Oh, I've got these dots to do as well. These go on here. And here. They go on there and there and there and there and there. That is that. But pretty much, these ones here are bigger flowers, I think. I think that's just where we're at. If there was any sort of negative spaces that I didn't like, what I did was, because there was a couple, let me see, I painted these two leaves in extra because there was a bit, oh, I really don't want that. I didn't as well have to be too concerned about my blend because I didn't actually drop any paint on the purple. So that was quite good. Now, can you see where this is going? I think you maybe can. Okay, so I'm going to get on. I'm going to tidy up where I've just been. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up these cupboards. And in here, I'm going to paint the arrows colour, which is this colour here. I'm going to paint that inside these cupboards. The legs, I'm going to do the darkest of dark purple. Might come back and show you that, but I mean, these are just painting cupboard fronts and painting legs. It's not very exciting. I am going to put one of the flowers, probably this one, and a leaf on both sides, quite big. And I think we're kind of getting to the point where we're kind of rounding this up. The handles were on it, I'll show you. They were quite mid-century modern anyway, but they were gold, and I think I'll spray them black to go back onto this piece. But this is it's getting closer to completion. Okay. Okay, so what I'm doing is the sides now, and I'm just painting in. I didn't bother drawing the sides. I just kind of roughly drew them out in pen. There's a bit of hair or something and texture in there. My brushes keep molding. Right, something like this. I really like these chinoiserie painting brushes. They're nice. Although be careful how you wash them, because I washed one yesterday and it was very fuzzy once I'd washed it, so I think maybe I didn't wash it correctly, so I'm going to have to wash it again. Right, okay, so we've got those while they're drying. We want to put our dark purple on here, and it's just really the same as what you've seen on the sides. I wasn't sure whether I was going to bring you back to show you this or not, but I thought, well, it's just so you know what the sides look like. And on the sides I've just got this, I'm bringing this down because I want to put the red in here. It looks a bit messy just now, but don't worry, it is going to be tidied up in a minute. So this is really all I'm doing now, and then once I've done this, I will be I've painted the feet the very dark purple colour. This colour here, I've done them the very dark colour. They're just drying, and the inside of the cupboards got painted yesterday, no, the day before there. No, they're not hornflower, they're owls, which is the sort of light orange. So they've been done, and I'm thinking I might put a stencil in the inside of the cupboards. So we're going to do that. But I was deliberating over the handles, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with them. And it was Marty that came up with the idea of why didn't I spray them purple. So Martin went out and got me some spray paint for my handles, and this is the colour that we're going to be doing them. So these are the handles. So they're mid-century modern handles. They're all chipped, so I thought I could have gold leafed them again, but I think it would be nice if they were purple. It'll kind of go, sometimes you want your handles to stand out, sometimes you want your handles to sit back, and with all this design work I think we want them to sit back. So I'm going to take them out and give them 2 light coats of this purple spray paint for plastic, wood and metal, and then once they're dry I'm going to give them a coat of spray sealer so that the colours set on them. I'm going to go on now and I'm going to start putting the colour into this one here and bring it up into the purple. That's my next port of call. When these are dry I'm going to add all my colours like I did before, and then do the scribbly part, and the next time you see me I'll have sprayed the handles, and we'll be giving the inside a little bit of stencil. Okay, so while I'm painting over this side, Martin's filming. What? Yeah, Martin's filming the other side that I've already completed. So this is what I'm trying to do on this side now. I'm just bringing this side to the same as the other side. We're multitasking, aren't we, Marty?
Yep.
So that's how it looks. And if I did this, I've got some touch-ups to do along here with the original purple colour. This needs a second coat, and in here needs this touch-up. I can't actually see what I'm pointing to, but you see where I've gone over there. I used masking tape, but it wasn't quite, and touch this up, and then we'll put a stencil in here. Why have I not fixed the touch-ups yet? Because I'll tell you why. Because I'm moving over to the stable as we speak. I'm multitasking. I'm doing 2 different jobs, and one of them is I'm moving over the stencil. And in my infinite wisdom, I took the purple over to the stable, so it's not here right now. So I'm going to have to go back over to the stable to get it. So I left all the other paint, but I forgot the purple. So I'm going to go over there, and obviously I've taken some of my stencils over as well. So I'm going to go and have to get them. So, but I'll spray the handles, and this is how it looks so far. Okay, with this dark purple, I've got a stencil in the bottom part. I've fixed up all these little edges, and I'm just going to stencil into the bottom of the cabinet. Why? Well, why not? I think it'll make it look a bit more fancy. These kind of jobs are a little bit awkward, and I'm not using a stencil brush, so we could get anything at this point. Once I've done this, I'll do the other side as well, and then I'll seal it, and I'm going to be sealing this today with French Chic Tough Top Coat Sealer, and then when it's dry I'll get it over to the stable, which is nearly finished. I've nearly finished moving over, so this will be the last video I do in here.
Last video of the winter boot room.
Whoop,
whoop, whoop.
And I won't be back in here till the winter. So that's good. Lots of freedom over there, and plus you can make as much mess as you want, which is good. So I'm rushing just so you can see what this looks like. But obviously not quick enough. Excuse me at this really boring juncture where you see me put stencil on in a cupboard. I just want you to see before we go. The handles are outside drying. They got sprayed the purple, and I think they'll be nice on the piece. A little bit different to the sort of goldy colour that they wear. And it kind of makes it look a little bit more fancy. So I'm just quickly doing this. Probably got 100 parts of bleed through since I've been rushing, but when I get to this part, I'll just join it right to the front edge. So I need to still do this little, because I'll be putting the other side on to make it one shape, or that's hopefully the plan. And let's see if I manage to do this without masses of bleed through. And this one we're joining onto this one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do the other row here, and then we will be finished. Okay, so this video was really about having the fears to hand paint onto furniture. I think especially as well if you've done a blend that you quite like, you think you're going to ruin it, and there's lots of different kind of mental obstacles about painting, hand painting in particular. This kind of hand painting, it's just the doodles you do at the kitchen table. You're not being Picasso about this. You just have to kind of embrace the look and get a bit scribbly. The effect at the end is something really quite good, unusual, and people really go for this kind of thing on a mid-century modern piece of furniture. So this piece was another landfill save. It was needed to collected. It was going to the dump. So that's another piece saved. I managed to get in here with my stencily drawers, cupboards even, not drawers. I painted the sides of the drawers purple actually, but I'll get Martin to have a wee rundown of those on the video, the bit at the end, the nice part. Anyway, that's really been it. It's been properly sealed. Do you know what I really like most about this piece of furniture? It's the handles. I just love those handles. Martin, that was a really good idea. Okay, so if you've enjoyed this video today, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, leave us a lovely comment. Don't forget to share. It's really important. I'm going to give you all homework. If you know somebody who might like to do furniture, share this video with them. And the most important thing is do not forget to subscribe. The lovely Martin and I will see you again next week. Martin, do you have anything to add?
No,
Nothing.
not this week.
He obviously doesn't like it.
I do, I love it, but you always say, whenever I compliment it, you always say that.
Okay then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.